Wack that told him that though.
Because his statement is Wack.
Bro, what you mean?
Damn, triple
It's actually
OG.
been 3
Obviously
years.
you ain't going to court because you was going to court.
Triple OG.
Every time you go to court, they gonna let us know you going to court. So
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an open
nah,
gun
what
case,
about
fool.
the gun case, bullshit?
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an
They will
open
give
gun
you
case,
your
gang.
time.
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
Wack 100 been yelling snitch at the top of his lungs for years, but now a leaked wiretap just hit the streets and it's blowing the block up. And get this, folks say it was dropped by none other than 21 Savage himself. Suddenly, people are digging back into that old 2005 federal gun case like it's fresh off the press.
Wack that told him that though.
Because his statement is Wack.
What if Wack's been double-timing this whole industry, playing both sides like a true snake? Picture this, a dude who never shuts up about rats. Then suddenly, boom, a little flash of a badge slips from his wallet. Man, even just a glimpse like that can wreck your whole reputation.
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
But here's the real kicker. It's not even about what was said. It's who let it loose. Word on the street is 21 Savage ain't just reposting clips. Nah, people saying he's the one who leaked it straight up. And honestly, can you blame him? Wack been dragging 21's name through the dirt for years, calling him a Fed boy, saying he snitched to ICE, even trying to tie him to that whole YSL case. But 21, he stayed quiet, played it cool. If 21 Savage really dropped that tape, that wasn't some petty move. That was straight up chess. After years of Wack sneak dissing him on Clubhouse, 21 finally clapped back without saying a single word. It was like he'd been holding in every jab, every lie, every slick comment.
All right, so yeah, after you got that message, after you got the message, you hit up Big U's wife. You said, "Sis, 911. One sec, let me get Solo." And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, "One sec, let me get Solo. He needs to leave. Bad." In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said so bad, right?
Yeah, full bad.
And then boom, silent checkmate. Now, if you start connecting the dots over the years, it's looking shady. Wack been out here pointing fingers at everybody else, yelling rat this, fed that, all while trying to keep eyes off himself, like maybe all that loud talking was just a smokescreen. And let's not act like this the first time someone pulled his card. Just a few months back, reports came out that Big U got hit with RICO charges. But get this, before Big U even turned himself in, he got on video and called out Wack 100, said straight up, he's working with the FBI. Now here's where it starts getting weird, real weird. Before the RICO case even hit the headlines, before arrests, before any paperwork, Wack was already in the loop. He hit up Big U's wife with a message like 911, he gotta leave now. Bruh. Before Big U even got cuffed, Wack was already hitting up his wife? That don't sound like no friendly warning. That feels like a setup in disguise, like he knew the raid was coming because he made the call. And here's the twist. Right after Big U got booked, Wack jumped online running his mouth like always, flipping the whole thing back on Big U, claimed Big U was the one moving grimy, even said he had a BlackBerry he used to talk to the feds.
And I'm going through it. I said, yeah, I don't know nothing about this. He said, man, y'all too tight. I see Big U's signature. I see other signatures. I'm reading it. And what shook me was the police issued device to communicate with law enforcement in form of a BlackBerry.
But instead of clearing his own name, all that talk just made people more suspicious. Like for real, how you always the first to know, always in the middle of the mess, but never the one getting touched? That call to Big U's wife, it didn't sound like help. It sounded like a dude trying to play both ends, warn the same man he might have just lined up, stay close to the fire, but somehow never get burned. That's when folks really started giving Wack the side eye. Like maybe he ain't the solid dude he claims to be. And the crazy part? This ain't even brand new. All this mess today traces back to something way deeper, like way back in 2005. Word is Wack and his brother got pulled over in Texas. Seemed regular at first, just a speeding stop. Cops ask where they headed, and Wack says, Oklahoma, for a funeral. But when they refuse a car search, the cops bring in the K9S. And what do they find? A loaded shotgun, rifle, and pistol stashed in the whip. Now here's the part that nobody can just brush off. Wack and his brother. They were already convicted felons when they got caught with them guns. That's automatic Fed time, no questions asked. Cases like that usually end rap dreams before they even get started. But somehow, Wack made bail and slid right back to LA like it was just a traffic ticket. Then boom, silence. 2 whole years, not a peep. No court updates, no trial noise. Then, out of nowhere, the case? Dismissed. And not because of weak evidence or some legal slip-up. Nah, the court straight up said it was dropped in the interest of justice. Now hold up. If you know how the system really works, especially when felons get caught with heat, then you already know that phrase ain't random. In the interest of justice, don't show up on paperwork just 'cause. That ain't some kind-hearted move. It usually means somebody gave the feds something back. Wack tried to clean it up years later, talking about how the search was illegal. But that was all cap. The court docs were public, and there was zero mention of any shady search. Just case dismissed? Nice and neat. But it's the timing that really makes this story cold. 'Cause just a couple years after that, Wack's old boss from death row, Suge Knight, started getting cornered by the feds. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Suga's name got pulled into a gang injunction. His crew started crumbling. Wiretaps, raids, people getting named left and right in paperwork. But Wack, he wasn't mentioned. Not once. While Suga's whole crew was getting picked apart, Wack's name? Nowhere to be found. Then came that wild kidnapping case involving the Main Street Crips and tied to Shaq. And deep in the transcripts, a name pops up. Back. Leaving voicemails, making calls. And guess what? Folks been whispering for years that Back was really Wack 100. Now jump to today. Wack's all over the internet again, throwing dirt on everybody. Gunna, BG, Brick Baby, 21 Savage, even Jay Diggs, like he's some kind of street preacher handing out moral lessons. But let's be real. That 2005 case, it don't match the image he's selling. You don't just beat a Fed gun charge with 3 loaded weapons in your trunk as a convicted felon, not unless you got insane luck, or you gave something real valuable up. And now, with this new video showing what looks like a police ID slipping out his wallet almost 20 years later, people ain't just looking at the badge. They're remembering that case, that quiet dismissal, that clean escape, and they're asking the question that's been floating ever since. What did Wack trade to walk away so spotless? One word Wack can't stop throwing around. Snitch. That's his go-to insult. Anytime a rapper gets locked up or takes a plea, Wack's right there on Clubhouse, yelling that they folded. He did it with Gunna, claimed he had a whole 2-hour interrogation tape and even threatened to leak it if Gunna didn't come clean. But guess what? He never dropped the tape, just sat there running his mouth like usual. Then he came for BG, a man who already did over a decade behind bars. Wack accused him of snitching too, with no paperwork. Even BG's old cellmate spoke out and said, BG held it down and never folded once, but Wack didn't care. He kept running the same tired play. No proof, just accusations. And yeah, on the surface, it might fool some folks. He talks loud, acts like he's holding everyone to some code. But people who really pay attention, they peep the pattern. Wack only screams, snitch, the loudest, when the heat's getting close to him. And here's another thing. Wack records everybody. That's not how solid people operate. You don't record convos unless you got plans to use them or hand them off to someone else. Now folks are starting to catch on. Some of the same rappers Wack brought into Clubhouse ended up catching real charges later. Loose Cannon was one, went on there, said too much, and boom, got jammed up right after. Now people are starting to ask, was Wack setting folks up to crash out? Was he getting them to talk reckless on purpose, just so the clips could go viral and let prosecutors handle the dirty work? It's all starting to look too calculated. From how he stirs up drama to how leaks just happen to drop when it plays in his favor. Look, not everything is hard proof, but that pattern, it's getting way too loud to ignore. At some point, you gotta pause and really examine the whole timeline. That leaked video didn't just blow things up out of nowhere, it was the spark to a fire that's been quietly building for years. From that 2005 case that disappeared without a trace, to Wack knowing about Big U's RICO before the feds even made a move, to the wiretap whispers, that badge flash, and his non-stop habit of recording people like he's building a vault. This ain't just chaos, it's chess moves, and the deeper folks dig through the timeline, the more it feels like Wack been hiding in plain sight the whole time. 'Cause here's the wild part. All these people he called out as snitches, where's the paperwork? If they really did what he claims, it'd be public by now. But the only name that keeps showing up in dropped cases, early warnings, and untouched charges, exposed, or have the feds known all along that it's him? That's what makes this whole thing hit different. It's not just about proving if Wack's working with the feds, it's about asking what it really means if he is. What does that say about the stories we believe? About who we give mics, platforms, and power to? People been cracking jokes online for years, but this ain't funny no more. Not when real people are getting caught up, lives flipped upside down, and all because someone might be playing puppet master behind the scenes. Wack spent years pointing fingers, yelling snitch at everybody else. But now, people are side-eyeing him, wondering if the loudest dude in the room was mic'd up the whole time. 'Cause if that's true, this whole game's been compromised for years. And what's even scarier, he ain't hiding. He's still out here running his mouth, and whatever he says next might be the final piece that blows this whole thing wide open. If you've been following this saga, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear the real. Stay locked in, and I'll see you on the next one.